Hi everyone, I'm Natalia Toro and today I'll be talking about anxiety and emotional stroke binge eating. Two issues that go hand by hand for so many people. You will understand the physiological and emotional reasons why, if you suffer from debilitating anxiety and chronic stress symptoms, you might be emotionally binge eating as well. And you will take with you in this video a couple of practices that can help you to start working yourself out the cycle of binge eating, overeating that's product of your anxiety. For those who don't know me, I help professionals and entrepreneurs to overcome anxiety and chronic stress so they can stop surviving and start really thriving in their career and personal life. What I'm going to be offering today for those watching as well, and I will leave this in the description below, is an opportunity to jump in a discovery call free of cost with me, where we will discuss and go through what's going on in your current life, what's going good, what's going not too good, what areas of your life are being affected by debilitating symptoms of anxiety, overwhelm, and chronic stress in general. And we will work out a solution-oriented plan for you to stop surviving and be able to move on and start really thriving at your personal and professional life, fast and in an effective way. So just go to the link below in the description, as I said, click and book a spot on the calendar. That's all you really need to do. Now let's dive into our subject, anxiety and emotional eating, binge eating. I said at the beginning of this video that anxiety and emotional eating or binge eating are problems that go hand by hand for a lot of people. Over 50% of people who emotionally eat, binge eat, or have any kind of food addiction also struggle with anxiety. And this is a question that I get from most of my clients and from people who know me, is what comes first, the anxiety or the eating when I feel bored, sad, afraid, worried, or anxious, and sometimes or always that leads to binge eating. And the answer is very simple. Anxiety will start before any eating disorder, and most of the times has been developed during your childhood. Yes, even if you now as an adult don't remember the event or the series of events and situations where your mind could have developed these anxiety responses. Now, if you developed anxiety out of a traumatic event after your childhood, let's say during your teenage or even adulthood, and you now struggle with binge eating or emotional eating, again, the anxiety developed first and the emotional or binge eating after. All this for you to really understand that eating when you are not truly hungry, whether you can or not identify the feeling behind it, isn't a problem on its own. Actually, eating disorders and addictions aren't the problem. So the problem here isn't that you emotionally eat or binge eat, that's just the coping mechanism, the consequence, the symptom, if you like, of that anxiety. Let's remember that anxiety is a survival response, known as well as the fight or flight response to a stimulus in your environment, which most of the times you are not consciously aware of. However, we know that anxiety can also come from your own thoughts, worries, constant negative thoughts, or even catastrophic thinking. In any case, when you are experiencing anxiety, your body releases, let's say, a very generous amount of cortisol, known as the hormone of stress. And in those ridiculous amounts, because your body thinks you are very stressed, let's be honest, cortisol doesn't give you any pleasant feelings. So what are you most likely to do or normally do? Well, reach for something that changes those unpleasant sensations and feelings. Those feelings of unease, heart beating, shallow breath, overthinking, lack of concentration, feelings of confinement, catastrophizing, lack of freedom, and the list goes on and on and on. And in many cases, that's something you will reach out for. And also the reason why this video is about anxiety and emotional or binge eating is food. In which case, yes, your mind was right. It helps you to feel better, but that's only for a very, very short period of time. And it leads to other bunch of problems that you don't want, including worsening your anxiety. Because let's be sincere here. No one binge eats on cucumbers, carrots, lettuce, cabbage, kale. No, no. We binge eat on anything sugary, mushy, creamy, fatty, like cakes, chocolates, ice cream, pizza, bread, pastry, candy, fries, etc., etc., etc. And guess what else was sugary, mushy, creamy, fatty, delicious? Well, your mom's breast milk. Or for people like me who couldn't get breastfed, the baby formulas. And I know you are like, and what that has to do with my emotional eating, my overeating, over snacking, binge eating? Well, it has everything to do. Being fed is for all baby humans and not humans too. One of the first brain associations with being loved, taken care of, well-being, safety, and connection. Connection with whom? With the first other human beings our eyes first saw, which are mostly our parents or whoever were your main caregivers when you were born. So every time we eat something sugary, mushy, creamy, fatty, your brain and your body are performing a subconscious act of regression, making you believe that eating cakes, chocolate, ice cream, pizza, bread, pastry, candy, fries, etc. makes you feel loved, safe, and connected. And when you feel loved, safe, and connected, you cannot feel stress at the same time. It's physiologically, mentally, and emotionally impossible, so your body, in its perfect intelligence, will drop back those ridiculous amounts of cortisol as soon as you eat something creamy, sugary, fatty. That, in the first place, were giving you such awful feelings of anxiety that make you reach to the fridge or the cupboard in the first place. And your mind will be like, you see, I told you, eating the entire pack of 30 cookies was the solution. However, it won't be long after you start having a new set of feelings and thoughts, mostly negative ones. Because binge eating and emotional eating, in general eating when you are not hungry, can make you feel out of control, self-critic of your physical appearance, for example, and in worst cases could start making you feel really ill. Not good at all. Now, did you understand why emotional and binge eating make quite a lot of physiological and emotional sense when you are someone who already struggles with anxiety? That's why jumping from diet to diet won't work. Trying to consciously force yourself to not eat that entire bar of chocolate as a way of punishment, it won't work either. And that will lead to frustration and even more and more anxiety. And by my own experience with myself and with clients, hours of talking therapy won't work either. Why? The main problem, the real root cause of your overeating, emotional eating, and binge eating behavior isn't something that happens at a conscious level. If that was the case, you should be able to stop just by thinking, I don't want to eat the whole cake just now in one sitting. But this is precisely a problem because you know that it doesn't just stop even if you wanted to. The root cause of binge eating and emotional eating, out of your anxious feelings and your worries, is in your unconscious mind. And only by accessing that part and changing what's in there that makes you experience anxiety and therefore binge eat or emotionally eat, the problem will really disappear only if we go there and fix it from there, from the unconscious mind. And with it, believe me, many aspects of your life will improve. Now, what can you start doing on your own at home to try and work yourself out of that repetitive cycle of binge eating or emotional eating? If you struggle with anxiety, for example. 1. Reach for a glass of water or make a cup of herbal tea first instead of reaching for the cookies, the pizza, the ice cream, or whatever is what you were going to eat. This will slowly but surely interrupt the pattern of your acting over the thought. That thought that asks you to reach for food to feel better. 2. Go for a walk if you can. Do a 5 minutes stretching session or do 30 squats instead of reaching for the fridge or the cupboard in the first moment. This is not only another way to interrupt the pattern, but you will be actually using the unnecessary amount of cortisol that's flowed in your body in a sort of physical activity. So if you use that cortisol, your feelings of anxiety and overwhelm are very likely to improve, and you might even forget that you were going to eat because you're not hungry, you're just anxious. And 3, and very important, practice self-compassion. Understand that if you struggle with anxiety and binge eating, it isn't your fault. Understand that you are not weird, that these are problems that ain't going to stop just by you thinking that you don't want them. Most people need to reach out for help after trying to improve on their own and realizing that they couldn't. So you are not alone. Anxiety and binge or emotional eating are more common than what you really think. So stop beating yourself up and instead focus all that energy on what is available to you to find a real solution. Let me know your thoughts about this video on the comments below. If you have any questions or even if you want to suggest subjects related to anxiety, chronic stress, overwhelm, feel free to type them down. And if you think that this information can help someone you know that's struggling with anxiety, with their weight, with binge eating, please share. And thanks for being with me. Thanks for being with me and watching. Remember, if you want to jump in a 45 minutes discovery call with me, totally free of cost, and I have only 5 spots available this week, just go to the description down, click the link, and book yourself 1 spot on the calendar. It doesn't matter where you are in the entire world. Bye for now.